Has Bitcoin formed a double top as many suggest? I'm going to give you my opinion in today's video, plus we're going to take a look at some key levels that could dictate where Bitcoin goes over the next few weeks. Before I get started, be sure to hit that subscribe button below. It does mean a lot to me. And also smash that like button and leave your comment. Now, lastly, this is not financial advice. None of the content in this video is financial advice. It is for educational purposes only. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump right in. We're looking at the weekly time frame here. And I know a lot of people have said that this is a potential double top for Bitcoin. So it's pretty easy to see here from the chart. They're saying that this right here is a double top pattern, and this is going to send Bitcoin lower into a bear market. However, right off the bat, guys, I'm going to tell you that this is not a double top pattern. And the reason I'm so adamant about that is because if we look at the measured objective for that pattern that everybody's talking about, it gives us a number that does not work. So let me show you what I mean. If we move in here, so let's just assume that this was a double top. So the confirmation for this would come on a close below essentially $29,000. Now, if we take the measurement here from this area around 29,000 up towards some of these highs, so even back here, we get about $35,000 or so. And the objective for a double top pattern like this would be the distance from the confirmation level up to these highs, so 35,000, and you measure that same distance from the confirmation level. So obviously, you can see immediately that we have a problem here because $29,000 minus $35,000 does not work. It gives us a negative number. Okay, so you can't measure $35,000 below $29,000. It does not work. So right off the bat, I'm going to tell you that this is not a double top pattern. Anybody telling you that this is a double top really doesn't truly understand technical analysis, in my opinion. Now, that's not to say that Bitcoin has not topped out. We always have to assume that there is a chance that that's the case, okay? That this is the top for this cycle. We have to kind of assume that, keep an open mind. Although I do not think that's the case. As I've said recently, I personally think that this cycle goes into 2022 because not a lot of people expect that. And also the fact that Bitcoin is still just below all-time highs. So there's a lot of bearish talk out there. There's a lot of people talking about bear markets. However, all of that, in my opinion, is still incredibly premature because fact is Bitcoin is still holding up. It's in an uptrend. It's still holding just below all-time highs. And so that alone is bullish, okay? If we were in a bear market, in my opinion, we would have seen Bitcoin come down here toward 30. And then this right here would have been the dead cat bounce. And we would have seen Bitcoin rotate below 30, okay? But instead, we didn't get that. We got a retest, all-time highs. In fact, we went above these highs back here. And right now, to me, this looks like consolidation before we get that final move above this area into 2022. Okay, so that brings me to kind of the more short-term price action, which, you know, if we zoom in, you can see where right now Bitcoin is trading right around 56.8. Now, to me, the must-hold support area is going to be down here right around 53. It could be as low as 52. But essentially this area between 52 and 55, and I've talked about the $55,000 area in the past, there is a lot of confluence around this area. So there's two key Fibonacci levels, which you can see, I'll draw these quickly, from this low down here up to the high, and then also from this low down here up to that same high. So you can see where we have the 382 and the 236 that both line up at 55. All right, so there's a lot of confluence here. There's a horizontal level, there's two key Fibonacci levels, and there's also a trend line off of the January highs. So if we look back here to this high, you can see where we have a trend line that comes in right through this area. And you can see it better from the daily time frame. All right, so if we look here, you can see that this was also technically the neckline that we got back here during this period. Okay, so this is right now what is supporting Bitcoin at the moment right here through this 55 area. Now, that's not to say that it can't move lower because, again, really the must-hold level for me at least is down here around 52 to 53. However, what I think that we're going to get here over the next couple of weeks is potentially a move back towards 63. Now, the question is, does that happen from 55 or do we wick down toward 52, 53 first before we get that move up towards 63? And the reason I think we get a move back towards 63 is the fact that Bitcoin doesn't move in straight lines very often. Back here was really a very rare event where we had two weekly candles in a row, two massive red weekly candles in a row, I should say. But this doesn't happen very often. If you'll notice, Bitcoin doesn't move in straight lines. Back here during this consolidation, it didn't. Obviously through here, it didn't. And then the same thing here, and also through this pullback here. Okay, it moves back and forth. Okay, and this is why Bitcoin is so incredibly difficult to trade short term, because you do get these moves back and forth. And right now you get a lot of sellers that get trapped down here at support, and then we move higher into 63. We liquidate those traders. Then everybody gets long up here, and then we get Bitcoin rotating lower, liquidate those long traders, etc. All right, so for me, I do think that we're going to get a move higher up towards 63. And from there, that's really going to be the level to watch, in my opinion. All right, so this area up here at 63, and I'll show you on the daily time frame here why this is significant. Okay, so looking at the daily, you can see where up here around 63, we had several highs back here through this area, and then it flipped to support, and Bitcoin has since obviously broken down. So I think that from this area down here, we do get a move up toward 63. Now, what happens from there is going to be crucial, because once again, if we look at the weekly time frame, it becomes very similar to this period back here. However, I'm not saying that we are going to get another sell-off like this, but what I am saying is that 63, in my opinion, is going to be crucial for whether or not we do get that pullback again, or if Bitcoin can claw back this level and then start to move higher, break out from 70 in December or January. So essentially, the $63,000 area becomes a key pivot. All right, where we go from there is going to kind of dictate where Bitcoin goes over the next few weeks. Do we get a push above 63 and into 70? Or do we see Bitcoin rotate lower back into this 55 area once we hit 63? So that's where Bitcoin is today right now. We're kind of in this state of, testing support at the moment. I do think that though that from this area, we do get a bounce back toward the 63 area. And then we decide from there whether Bitcoin moves higher or lower. Now, my thoughts on, going into 2022, and I've mentioned this before, but I personally think that we do get a move above 70 eventually, whether that's in December or January, and then we get a lengthened cycle into 2022. And I know there's a lot of disbelievers about that. However, you have to understand that 2017 was longer than 2013. Okay, the 2017 cycle was technically longer than 2013, and that's whether you measure from the halving, peak to peak, or bottom to bottom. And so I think that this idea that this cycle is going to be the same as 2017, it really doesn't make a lot of sense. Furthermore, if you think about it, it takes more capital to push Bitcoin higher every cycle. So therefore, it stands to reason that it could also take more time for that capital to enter the market. All right, so I know that there are a lot of people out there who, disbelieve the idea that we're going to get this lengthened cycle, but I do think that it makes a lot of sense, both technically and also fundamentally. So in 2022, I do think that we eventually get some type of squeeze into this pattern. We get the breakout, and then that move higher into 2022. Now, where we top out from there, that's very difficult to figure out. If it's sometime in the middle of next year, and we do test this trend line here off of this low back here from 2017, then we could be looking at Bitcoin up here toward 150,000. And of course, if we do get a move into, a little bit later in 2022, then we could be looking at $200,000 plus. So in summary, this is not a double top pattern. All right, I do think we get a lengthened cycle into 2022 for the reasons I explained. And I also think that in the short term, Bitcoin is going to likely bounce from this 53 to 55 area down here. And then it's probably going to move back towards 63. And then from there, that's going to kind of dictate whether we get a Bitcoin that moves higher and breaks 70 in December or January, or we potentially get another lower, flush out some late longs, and then move higher from there. So I hope this video has helped. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to subscribe to the channel below and click that bell icon so you get notified every time I post these videos. And also smash that like button and leave your comment below. I do try to make it a point to respond to every single comment. So until next time, guys, be safe out there. Talk to you soon.